Good afternoon and welcome. Oops, sorry, it's going to slip off again. Hang on, let me just check the laptop. Can come see if it's going live. If you can see and hear me, please could you give me a thumbs up so I know that I'm going live and I'm not just talking merrily away to myself. Mind you, I do that all the time anyway, talk to myself. Don't you get the best answers when you talk to yourself? Anyway, what are we here for this week? Well, this week I'm going to share with you my version, my take on a Christmas tree treat pouch, pocket, box, whatever you want to call it. I saw the lovely Michelle last do this and I thought I'd share it with you. So I'm going to turn the camera around because you don't need to look at me. You'd rather look at what we're going to be doing. So here we go. I do have one quick question. What colour would you like to use? Bubble bath or fresh freesia? Now I know they're not tree colours, but it's whimsical and I'm allowed. And I like pink and purple if you can't tell. Anyway, so hi Ali, thank you my lovely. Let me just turn the camera around and let's set the scene for this little project. So what colour shall we use? These are the two colours. Let me move my water bottle out of the way. Fresh freesia. Well, there you go. Ali's already told us. Would you like to see what I'm going to make before I make it? It's very cute. We're going to use the fresh freesia for the project, but this, as it falls over, this is what we're going to make. Isn't it so cute? It's actually not a bad size. It's hang on, it's 9 centimeters across at the bottom and it's 10.5 centimeters tall, so it's actually quite generous inside. You could definitely put a nice trinket or some chocolate or a love note or whatever you fancy. I've added a little bow on the top to close it and then some twine because I thought actually I could hang these on the Christmas tree as, you know, Christmas tree gifts for the family. And I've used my peppermint adhesive rounds because they're cute. So we're going to put that to one side. In fact, I'm just going to hang it up there so I don't lose it and talk about what we need. Well, we're going to need some cardstock. We're going to need a 3/4 inch punch. I have already punched out lots of them, and some gems we can choose later, and I've got some ribbon and some twine, but we'll get to that bit later. Let's start with this bit, what you need. So you're going to take your piece of cardstock and we're going to cut it in our trimmer. Now if you're in the UK, you know cardstock measures 21 centimeters across and 29.7 long. So we're going to cut so that we have 21 by 9 centimeters. So you could get 3 out of a piece of A4 cardstock, which is really rather economical. So let's take that and put that out to one side. Oh dear, I have a fluffy edge. I've been cutting some cardboard, so my blade is now not very pretty. What am I going to do about that? Well, if I could find my nail file, I would file it off. The other way to do it is to take a pair of scissors and give it a little bit of a haircut. So I'm just going to give it a slight haircut, trying not to cut the card, just to cut the fuzzies off. And that's fine then. We don't need any more than that. So this now measures 9 by 21. And we're going to score it at 10.5 along the long side. I'm going to push this. No, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to push this out so that I can show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the card and rotate it so that the long side now goes down, and I'm going to line it up at 4.5 because I want to mark the middle, and I'm going to take my pencil and put it in my trimmer point. Can you see there? So that's how I've marked that at 4.5, and I'm going to keep that in place, and I'm going to mark the other end as well. So I've now got a score line, a mark at the top and a mark at the bottom in the middle. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to score from that top point to the outer corner of the score line. So I'm going from the middle to the outside edge diagonally, and I'm going to repeat that on both sides at the top. And then all I'm going to do is rotate my card, so I now have my halfway mark and I have 2 score lines there. I'm going to repeat that and do it the same at the other end. This is a really easy little treat pouch, and you could decorate it in many ways, but I was really taken with Michelle's interpretation of a Christmas tree. So I asked permission if I could pinch her idea, hi Suze, and give it a go. So there we have, pull that out a little bit, there we have our panel. So we've now scored it in half, and we've scored diagonally to the centre points on all sides. We don't need the trimmer anymore, apart from we will need a little piece to act as our tree trunk. So I'm going to trim a piece of scrap down to 3 centimetres, and I'm going to leave it long because we can cut it afterwards, but I just have that handy. So I'm going to grab my bone folder and I'm going to reinforce all my score lines. Oh, before I do that though, I'm actually going to rub out my pencil marks, so we don't want those on show. So then we're just going to fold and score, fold and burnish, and that's our base for our box. I do apologise, I have got a tickle in my throat. Now we're going to need some tape. Now we're going to put the tape every 1.5 centimetres. So I'm just going to line that up on my grid on here, and I know that I want it about there. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm not panicking about it. I like tear and tape because I can tear it. I don't need to use scissors, but what I do need to do is work my way up across the whole thing. So we're going right across, and we're going to go all the way up to the top. Now I think this would be a good armchair project. If you cut your panels and score them and then go and sit down and watch the telly, you can do this as you're going along. It's quite therapeutic, especially when you have to punch out lots of little circles, which is what the next step would be. So before I do that, I'm going to take my little strip here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of tape across the bottom. Now, if that looks a little wide, let's have a little look. Yeah, that might be a little wide. That's quite a nice length though. Let's cut that at, what are we going to go for? 2 centimetres? Use your judgment, whatever suits you. So that now measures 2 by 3. Yeah, 2 by 3. And I'm just going to stick that at the bottom in the middle. So use your eye. And we're going to put that on first. Now I suppose you could use any other form of adhesive. You could use a tape runner. Could all sorts of things. So I've got my tree trunk there. I've got my strips on, so I don't need this. But what I would need next is a 3/4 of an inch punch. You could use a die, you could do bigger, you could do smaller, you could change this size once you understand how it goes. Now I can't tell you the exact number to punch, which is why I sat and did them whilst watching the television beforehand. Because, you know, I can punch with these punches, I can punch out 2 sheets at a time. So I cut myself strips and just happily sat there and punched. So I may have enough, I may not. We will wait and see. And really, this is the easiest thing of all. You literally just start by putting your first one there. Let me just draw that in a little bit so you can see. There you go. So this is my adhesive. These are my little dots, my circles, and I'm literally just going to lay them over the top of each other all the way along. And this is the boring bit. This is the reason I think this would be a good project to sit and do in front of the television, because it doesn't need an awful lot of concentration. And all we're going to do, you could do this, a rainbow one would be cool, wouldn't it? I should have done that. I might do that later. And then all I do when I've done one row is I go back and I overlap them so that they are covering the card base. You will see some little bits of glue there. I'm not panicked about it because it is getting covered by the next layer. So keep going and it will be good. Are you all ready for Christmas? Have you got all your decorations up and all your prezzies brought? Are you down to the last legs now? I'm not. I will be in a mad rush as always to get everything finished, but you know, that's part of the process for me. I like that bit, me. I used to, when my children were little, I used to love going out on Christmas Eve, and as a single mum, money was tight. I used to go and spend whatever I had left in my purse on goodies. And I still like to go out and spend a lot on my grandchildren and my niece and my children, because I like buying toys, I've discovered. Who knew? I love toy shops. Now, I have a little piece of... oh, that one came off. Come back. There we go. We do want to make sure they're pressed down well. I have a little bit of tape not finished there, so all I'm going to do is just use a little touch of wet glue for there so that I know that's going to be secure. And off we go again. And we're going to work our way all the way along here. This is not tricky, and it's actually quite quick, really. If you were making lots of them, it could be fun to sit down with the youngsters in your family, or any family member really, and say, come on, let's make a Christmas treat pouch, a table. Do you have gifts on the table instead of crackers? I know some people, when they have older children, they tend to do table gifts rather than crackers. But I thought this was quite a nice idea. You could customise the colours. You could do your football team colours for those that like football. You could do all sorts, couldn't you? Now, can you see how some of these are now overhanging the edges? Sorry. That isn't a problem either. We're going to trim those off in a minute. Okay, let's keep going. And we go back here. Now I found, try not to put 2 at a time. I found doing them, sorry, I'm going each way helped me to make sure I'd covered every area. So I would work that way and then that way, if that makes sense. Not sure it does, but I know what I mean. And there we are. And if you have any circles that have a little nick out, they can be tucked behind something else, can't it? Okay, final strip. Let's get this out and on. So we're going to go with this time. We don't want to go over the top edge, so we're going to place our circles so that they run along that top edge, keeping it nice and neat and tidy. It's always a good idea. And there we go, down we go. And I think we're on the last one here. See, I've done too many, but that's okay. I'll probably make another one of these, so that's that. Okay, let's clear the space and go back to that. Now, when I'm cutting things off that overhang, I like to use long bladed scissors on my trimmer. So I'm going to use my long bladed scissors just to cut the excess pieces off. Only on the sides, not at the bottom. It doesn't matter if they go over the edge at the bottom. It looks like a frilly edge. It's quite pretty. Scalloped is nice. Have you ever done that? Made scalloped edges using circles? It's a fun little technique that uses simple products to make pretty patterns. Okay, now we have a box. Well, no, we don't. We have a piece of card with one piece going up too high. So we're going to readjust that little piece in there. And you will please bear with me as I have a bit of a low-grade cold. Oh, my nose is itchy. Okay, so we have our score lines on the inside, and now we're going to fold through the layers of card as well. And we're going to fold our circles over so that we create those edges. Looks like a naked knobbly bobbly lolly. Ali, only you, my love, only you. Love it. And now we'll look at these and think of naked knobbly bobblies. Okay. And for those that don't know, a knobbly bobbly is an ice cream lolly. Some of them are, this one here, can you see, is right on that fold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my trusty wet glue in, and I am just going to add a little blob there. Hold that in place till it grips, just so that it holds there. And then we've got some more here that need a little bit of glue. Just want to make sure that they stay in place, not space, because they're folded at angles. This one up here needs a bit too. Sometimes you need a bit, sometimes you don't. I mean, you'll work it out as you go along. I'll tell you the other thing this reminds me of is dragon scales. That would make quite a good dragon, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, we're going to leave that for a minute. Probably need to do a little bit more titivating. So, to make the box, you bring the two sides together, slot one inside the other, and there's your tree. Now, how do we pinch these along that score line so that they crease nicely and lay nicely like that? So to get the holes in the top, I'm going to bring out my trusty handy dandy crocodile. There are other brands on the market. Oh, but I can get into it. Come on, fingers don't want to work. Oh, good grief. I closed that well, didn't I? Won't open. There we go. It's better. A hole punch will work as well, but I like the crocodile because I know it's strong and will go through multiple layers, because what we're going to do is we're going to open it on one side, and then we're very carefully going to, keeping those two pieces closed, slip our crocodile in and punch a hole. But you need to make sure that it is closed. Can you see how that is a closed finished panel? And we do a little there, and then we repeat on the other side. I'm just going to pinch that to make that corner look a little neater, and I'm going to go back in with the crocodile, and mine's set so that I know it's the same depth. I just have to get into the center, and there I have now got my holes on the sides. But you can see it's actually quite generous inside. So we've got that, and now you get the fun of decorating it. So I'm going to use some white twine for my hanger piece. I only need a little bit. There. Pop that back in the packet. The pack comes with other colours, but I'm going to go with white because I like white. If you had the patience, this would look amazing if you could blend on all the edges of the circles. That would be superb. Now, this is my final length of this striped iridescent ribbon, so I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to use it for this project. But before I do that, I'm going to thread this cord, the twine, through there, just on the back panel piece, so that it creates the hanger. When it's closed, it will, the other things will come through and close it, but that's just for the hanger, because I'm going to hang them on the Christmas tree. And I am going to make a pink one for my grandson because he loves pink. And here we have the ribbon. Now I'm going to have to be very careful with this because it is the only piece I have left. So I'm going to thread it from the front through, and then go from the front of the back like so, across the inside at the back, out, and then because that's going to tuck in there, I'm going to push that through from the back out to the front again. So there we have it, and then as it gets closed up, it will lie nice and neatly, and I can tie a bow at the top, but I still have my little hanger. So let's just make a little simple bow, and hope that it's the right size to make this work, because this is all there is left. So it's going to have to work. I'm going to have to make it the right size. It'll be fine. It's sparkly and pretty, so of course it'll be fine. Let's just adjust these ribbons. Sorry, doing it off screen. I'm just going to tighten the bow, readjust, tighten again, pull the legs, Hi Becky, how are you, my lovely? And there is the bow on the top of my tree. Now we have a choice. Shall we continue the iridescent theme with some iridescent faceted gems to put on the front, which look like hanging? Oh, that's good, sweetie. So we could use those, or I have some of these regal foiled adhesive back dots, never been opened. And they come in like a pinky colour. What do you think? Iridescent or pink? Let me know in the comments while I told you I'd go back and do a little bit of zhuzhing with the little panels here. We just put little drops of glue there and hold those in place while you let me know what you think I should use. Pink. Becky says pink, so we're going pink. Okay, so let's grab my take your pick tool and we'll put some on here. You could do whatever you like. You could put rhinestone. It would help if I picked one up. You can put rhinestones on them. You could put whatever you fancy. Could put a combination of all of them, couldn't you? You could make it multicoloured. I quite fancy the idea of doing a a rainbow version, you know, doing red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet to create a rainbow tree. But I like rainbows, so that would be probably why. 2, 4, 5. Oh, I think we need another one there. 6. One more makes it 7. Yeah, that'll do. And there is your little Christmas tree gift box. Let's pull that out of action. And there is space on the back here to write a sentiment if you wish. You could put a tag on it. You could put a sentiment across it. I do apologise. Please excuse me while I have a mouthful of water. It's a very easy project. It's a very, as I say, it's definitely a project to sit and, if you're making multiples, sit in front of the TV in the evening and punch out your circles and stick them all on. But there's the fresh freezer version, and here's the white version. I really like them. I hope you do too. Next week, I do have a very special box to share with you. I'm really in a box making mode. And I think it's quite impressive. It's deceptively simple once you understand the process. But more of that next week. For now, this is it. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a quick, simple project that you can use any colours you like and create multiples of with ease. That is that from me. So I'm going to bid you all a fond farewell, and I will see you next week. Take care. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.